I'm not sure if anyone will join in, but what we're going to go ahead and do is start things off by taking a look at what's going on right now. So we, believe it or not, already have some fall foliage unfolding. It's not in the lower 48, but I'm going to take you up to Alaska and show you where the color is, and really it's quite stunning right now. So we'll take a peek at that through some satellite imagery. And after that, we'll kind of jump into the swing of things and look at the outlook for the season and see what fall 2024 has in store. Okay, so what you're looking at here is actually satellite imagery from a satellite called Sentinel-2. You don't need all the boring details, but essentially this is a near real-time look at northern Alaska. If we step back a little bit, you can kind of get your bearings here. We're in the north slope of Alaska, and as of September 2nd, so just a couple of days ago, it looks like the north slope is at peak to maybe even past peak. This area is always the first to go in the US, so it's no surprise to see it nearly past peak in early September. If we do look a little bit further south, we are finally seeing the first peak color in the aspens, which is just a stunning peak, one of my favorite fall colors out there. This is down towards Fort Yukon, and you can see those yellows and golds starting to emerge. Now, for the more populated areas like Fairbanks, it's going to be a few more days, probably 10 more days. I believe we had a satellite pass just yesterday on the 3rd in Fairbanks. And you can see those aspens around town are just starting to yellow up. So it's still primarily green, but probably inside of 10 days, we'll be seeing it push more towards high color and peak color. And Fairbanks is generally around the middle of the month, at least the middle of September. We'll go back one more day so we can look at look at Anchorage as well. Now, Anchorage is not turning color yet, but we do see that the color is starting to spill out of the Alaska range, which is the mountain range in southern Alaska. And you can see this peak color in the tundra, as well as some yellow starting to dot the hillsides where there are a few trees here and there. It'll still be a little while before Anchorage sees peak color. They're generally September 18, 19, 20, something like that. But that is the current state of fall foliage in Alaska. Now, we're going to try to keep this stream short, and truly I have no idea if anyone will see this or if anyone's even watching now, but we are going to try to keep things short. So I'm going to move quickly into what we're seeing currently in the US and an outlook for the upcoming season. Let's see here. You are watching me live. There we are. We're going to look at this map that I made yesterday, and you're going to not really understand what it is until I explain it to you, but essentially we use weather satellites to monitor vegetation conditions on the ground. It's not really what those satellites are intended to do, but it's really convenient that we have so much imagery from these satellites like GO-16, which is what we're looking at here. And this is the first look at ongoing observed fall color in lower 48. Up north, we do have some colors showing in northern Minnesota, creeping into the north shore of Minnesota as well, but further to the south, it's generally green still. We do have a few patches of isolated drought color in Tennessee and Arkansas, and really scattered throughout the southern Appalachians. But this is not really true fall color. In fact, we don't even display it on our maps on the website. So this is just spotty color. It will linger for a few more weeks, and I believe those southern locations that are really been plagued by drought, they'll see some early peaks, but they'll also see a late peak. It's going to be a really erratic season, and I'll get into that right now, actually. What I'd like to do is show you a stress outlook. Now, this is essentially a measure of fall foliage stress. So the trees that are really dry or really suffering from really moist soil conditions, these are trees that are likely to change color at odd times, lose their leaves early in some instances, and we generally characterize that as low, moderate, or high stress at Explorer Fall. In this case, we've got a 2024 outlook that we just released today, and we've really kind of narrowed in on a few of those zones where we do have high stress plaguing the trees. You can see all throughout really central and southern Appalachia, we have high stress, and that is a result of the drought that we've had ongoing for the last little while. Unfortunately, that's been a rather pervasive thing throughout the summer, and in some places it's been a seesaw from drought all the way over to excessive rain and back to drought. So we're kind of thinking that is going to inhibit some of the colorfulness of the fall foliage, especially in and around West Virginia and in portions of eastern Tennessee as well. Thankfully, and I'll move my face here because I know everyone wants to see New England, but thankfully New England is actually looking fairly good this year. We have overall low stress throughout most of the northeastern states, a little bit of moderate stress creeping up through Pennsylvania, and then again along the Canadian border due to some excessive rainfall, especially on that northern side. But overall, we're expecting a great season in New England. Of course, it always hinges on what September and October throw at us, but at the moment, everything looks very placid and exactly how we'd like it to look as we approach early, really even mid-September. We will see the first peaks in those areas as early as really October 1st when we start seeing that color in the Northeast. But let's look elsewhere in the country. Upper Midwest, we also have really promising conditions, low stress, which is wonderful. Unfortunately, the Southwest and South Central U.S., we really have some of that high stress creeping in again. This has been a pervasive drought throughout the year, along with some extreme heat throughout the year as well, which has really, unfortunately, downgraded a lot of the conditions that we're expecting. But thankfully, you do see that donut hole right there in the middle. That is a sign. I think the stream's still going. We'll find out. That is a sign that the fall color may actually be pretty good in Colorado and Utah. And if you've ever been to either of those places, you know that it is a wonderful, wonderful place to watch the fall foliage unfold. The big tooth maples in Utah are stunning, and the aspens in Colorado are amazing as well. Now, I don't want to beat this horse too much, but I would love to look over at our map and kind of just approach the season and see how things are going to transpire over the next few weeks and as we approach October as well. Let's see here. I'll just flip us over to our map, the Explore Fall Interactive map. I believe that will transition over. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. And I should even be able to interact with this. Wonderful. It all works so smoothly. It is currently September 4th as of the recording of this, and the map is all green. That's expected. It's early in the season, little to no color just about everywhere, but we're only a matter of days away from low color really creeping throughout the northern latitudes in the lower 48. As we already pointed out, there might even be some low color already in the northern tip of Minnesota. So that's not shown on this map, but that is what GOES 16 and GOES East are suggesting. As we move forward, let's just go ahead 10 days. We're going to give you a sneak peek at not only what the map shows, because this is all publicly accessible, but also some kind of behind the scenes opinions on thoughts on what might happen and kind of some takes that we can't necessarily show you on the map, but that have been living in my brain and rolling around for the past few weeks. 10 days out is September 14th, and though there's no peak color on this map, we actually do think that we'll see the first peak around this time. There are some microclimates on the northern shore of Minnesota, the North Shore, and these microclimates have it's this really dense maple forest, and it often peaks around mid-September. So we do think that generally September 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there, we're going to start to see peak color rolling through the North Shore. It just shows low color here, but that's the advantage of watching our streams and our YouTube videos, is you get that insider's knowledge on when those really small scale fall foliage peaks will occur. Elsewhere in the country, generally low color, but if we progress even a week forward into September 21st, we also expect, again, behind the scenes knowledge, but we also expect to see some peak color here outside of Salt Lake City. This is the Wasatch Range, and we have the big tooth maples here that love to turn early, and they are beautiful. They're not as widespread as the maples in New England, but they are just as vibrant, if not more vibrant. It's really an incredible scene. And generally around the 20th of September, all the way through September 30th or so, that's when we see that big tooth maple peak. So it's not quite showing here. Again, it's a process that is too small scale and too complex for our current fall foliage model, but we do think that we'll start to see that peak around this time. If we step out and do look at the kind of the national perspective, really let's step forward to October 1st, because this is when we will have color really ramping up across the country. October 1st, we do see the first signs of peak in New England. In some years, this is a bit early. In some years, it's a few days late, but this is an estimate and really just an average. This is a month out, and we can't do anything better than an estimate at this point, just like we can't predict the weather more than really 10 days in advance. We're doing our best to predict fall foliage, but there is not all that much accuracy outside of 10 days, which is why we use these estimates and really just climatological averages. But around this time, somewhere around October 1st, we do see the first peaks appearing in the Adirondacks, the Green Mountains, the White Mountains, as well as interior Maine. And that low color is creeping out into the southeast a little bit. We're actually even seeing it in the southern Appalachians. Stepping forward another 15 days or so, we'll just go forward into middle October. This is where the color is really going across the northern tier of the country. The Dakotas, Montana, Michigan, Wisconsin, a good majority of New England, especially the higher elevation locations, are all experiencing peak in mid-October. That's generally what we're expecting. Of course, New England, we've already discussed that the fall foliage outlook is really good. We think conditions will be great up there this season. Maybe more down in these areas like West Virginia, where we do see the peak showing up by mid-October. That could be a really erratic area where our map may even differ from what's going to happen, because there's so much drought stress ongoing. It's going to make the leaves do crazy things. So be on the lookout for a strange color at strange times, and also maybe some dull colors as well. Now we'll just step forward very quickly through the end of the month in November. I know by November 1st, most people are generally over fall color, but of course people in the South and the Southeast are not quite ready to throw in the towel yet. November 1st is generally peak time for a lot of the lower Midwest regions, as well as the mountains in the Southern Appalachians. This is really, the peak color starts to roll through those Southern Appalachian Mountains, and by the time we get to mid-November, the only peak that's left in the country is in the flatlands of the Southeast, and all the way stretching over to Texas. And then lastly, as we approach late November, we do see that peak color really creep into the deep South. Even portions of Florida see peak color, believe it or not. There's not a lot of color, but there is a little bit for you to check out if you happen to be there. Additionally, end of November, peak color down into Houston. This is pretty normal, as well as peak color finally getting going in the lower elevations and agricultural lands of California as well. So that is generally our outlook for fall of 2024. If you have any questions, interesting. The stream is way behind where I am. Well, who knows what's actually happening. I don't see any questions, but I will for sure look on social media and see if we can't find a few that are out there. But I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. If you did, please feel free to still drop a comment or a question in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond via text. And yeah, have a great fall foliage season. We'll be doing more of these episodes in the near future, and we'd love to just engage with you and answer any questions that may come up. Thank you so much for